All right. Welcome back to the Untold Truths podcast, the very first episode where we have our special guest. But ultimately, this podcast is where we go behind the scenes of food manufacturing to uncover the real challenges and innovations shaping industrial sanitation. But we'll also touch on a lot of operational related things and quality. I am one of the hosts, but more so behind the scenes. I won't be talking a lot, but I might chime in here and there. Tez Halu. We have our co-hosts here. Go ahead, introduce yourselves.
Raji, Eid.
Abdi Fatah Abdullahi, but I go by Abdi.
And today we have a very, very special guest. He actually needs no introduction. He walks in the room, the place lights up.
just with you guys.
But Alex, go ahead. Tell the people at home listening or wherever they're watching this. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Alex Allen. I've been helping food manufacturers address their actual problems and get themselves unstuck. You know, that everybody wants they want an omelet without breaking eggs, and somebody's got to go in there and clean up the shells. So that's what we do.
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
That's
clean
right.
up the shells. I like that.
That's right.
So, I guess we could kind of talk about just history and, what made you land in food manufacturing. What's so interesting about food manufacturing?
I grew up on a small farm, actually, out in Vermont. And most people think of Vermont as a bunch of, like, organic, hippie weirdos. And true, that very much is. And and instead of, like, rejecting all of society, I thought, why don't I actually go out there and try to see if I can make it better? So instead of saying, like, oh, these big food companies are, like, evil and trying to poison you, like, well, let's get some leaders out there who try to make food healthy and good and the way it's supposed to be done and have ethics and standards. So that's been sort of my goal, so try to, help as many people as we can. Food is, the numbers are, like, insane. Like, one bread plant will feed, 1 million people will eat their bread every week. I was running a flour mill in New York City that was making 2.5 million pounds of flour a day. And people eat like a quarter pound of flour a day. So that's like 10 million people eating out of a flour plant. And there's like 60 people running it. And so you want to make sure that those 60 people are paying attention because you don't want somebody, we'll just let it slide and we'll just ship it. It's fine. No big deal. Like it's going to matter to somebody who loses a tooth or gets sick. So food industry needs people who care about things being done right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you hit a lot on just leadership, caring, making a change, impact, and stuff like that. So just speak a little bit about, just leadership. Like, where does leadership have a huge play in what goes on and how it forces the culture to operate a certain type of way?
I think that the most important thing on leadership is to really stay true to where you're trying to go. There's like, and we're kind of joking a little ahead of time, like there's a lot of managers who want everything to look like it's going well. And we'll try to let's not talk about like the dirty dishes. We only want to talk about like the great food being served, but there's this whole process on the backside and you can't just cover it up. Like the leader has to say like, no, this is important. We're going to address this. It's not how many sticks you throw in a pile, it's does the dam hold water. So you have to you have to actually pay attention to what's going on, and the leader has to be brave enough to get the team to focus on that and to say no, like we can't just hope somebody else will solve the problem. It's on us to solve the problem.
So I'll kick it off with even one more question here, and Raji, I'll swing it over to you because sure. I'm sure there's some other things that we can definitely delve into, but just right off the bat, like what's one of the biggest challenges that like you've faced and you've seen this industry face time and time again?
I think a big challenge in food is that it's both a commodity that everybody needs, but it's also like an entertainment enjoyment factor. And so you get a lot of entertainers in the industry that want to be part of the entertainment side of food, and want to put on a show, and don't want people to see how the how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
They're like, they literally like, no, you don't want to know how the sausage is made. And it's like, no, it's fine. You like it's food. Like it came from dead animals, like, or dead plants. Like that's what it is. But they want it to be like this mystical, like, life experience. And so you're trying to blend this, this reality and sustenance with sort of a magic at the same time. And so then that creates like these two very different personalities within the industry. How do you, it's just sugar or it's just flour, but you add water and cook it, and like, our bread is so much better than your bread, or our candy is so much better than your candy, and and you're just trying to have that balance of cost and mystique and flavor and customer service, and there's all the stuff that goes into it in a fairly competitive environment, because pretty much any human can also just make their own food. So it's not like you're, like making Tesla cars and you're the only one that can like do that. Well, cars are competitive, so that was a bad example, but food is like the most competitive space there is. And so you're trying to win in a competitive space, but it's beneficial because everybody has to eat every day, and the food goes bad. So there's this constant need for it. Yeah. So it's a fun place to try to work in, because there's all these different aspects that go into it.
Yeah. So one aspect of it that we definitely have experienced, I know, dealing with sanitation, dealing with quality, being on the other end of supporting production. Like, Raji, what would you say, like, from your perspective, like, what's one thing that you have seen time and time again from a challenges perspective in this industry?
I think it's an epic battle between process, budgeting, and ethics, right? The manufacturing industry, I tell people all the time, it's a different environment. You have a lot of moving parts, literally, like from the equipment itself to the leaders, the processes, things essentially, a lot of things can go wrong, a lot of things can go right, but more often than not, you're going to have a lot more things going wrong, whether it's equipment reliability, employment, people turnover. So essentially, I think that's one of the biggest battles. And then when it comes to like the sanitation portion of things, obviously, it's, for those who don't know, sanitation is typically indirect labor in every facility. Nobody wants to pay for it, but it's a need, right?
It's a seesaw, man.
It literally is. So you have this this situation where it's like, all right, you're looking at head counts. So, for example, say the previous day, production did terrible. Like, you had like 15 hours of downtime. But then, hey, they probably don't stop running. Say if the ovens, if you're in a bakery, for example, you have, you're pumping out bread, but then, your oven burns down or what? Not burns down, but your product in the oven starts to burn. You have to clean that out, or a conveyor belt is down and, doughs come and so it's like, it's all of these nuanced challenges that, that require labor. And then, you have these battles in between I call it departmental battles, right? Where it's like, oh man, like, your guys ain't doing enough, or, you had too many people clean that one area over there, and, the efficiency isn't there. But it's like, the whole time what's driving that is like, oh, we're still paying for these guys, and we're not running right now. That's a problem, right? So I think that's one of the biggest, challenges, essentially, trying to find that balance between the departments and, logic. Obviously, ultimately, to Alex's point, like, manufacturing, simply put, it's a business. Obviously, the business is ensuring you're making safe quality products to provide to the consumers, but ultimately too as well, you got to have a profit margin, right? So keeping your costs down, any other business, and scaling, doing that with minimal downtime and having ample equipment reliability and and the team players to drive things in the right direction. So yeah, hopefully that kind of answers that in short. From that perspective. Abdi, you want to?
I think,
a little bit. Come on, Abdi, with that quality background.
From a leadership standpoint, especially me being in quality, what I've seen a lot, mostly is like, as a leader, the food industry actually challenges people from a value standpoint. because a lot of us it is a business. It's there to make money, but we have to make tough choices where we have to like understand. Do you look at the consumer and make sure that the product you're providing them actually meets your standards? Because your family, like Alex touched on, you're feeding millions of people once it leaves the plant. So you're not thinking from that standpoint, but you're always looking at the profitability of the products that you're actually making. And I think that if you're a good leader, then you have to look at the values and you have to think back and say, okay, do I need to make money or do I need to make the right choice? Which one is it? It's sort of like a battle every single time.
So that being said, how many times did you not put your name on the dotted line? I am not signing that, sir.
Talk about it. Seriously. These are untold stories and untold battles that people out in the public have never heard. But it's like, Raji, like you mentioned, it's like departmental battles where it's
100%.
like, once that goes out, it's gonna affect people, and who's gonna be liable for it internally?
I mean, even having the conversation, or just even the potential of it potentially affecting people. I think that's where it gets even more scary, right? Because one thing, if you definitively know, like, this is going to hurt somebody, you can't put that out there. But it's like, if it's a potential, put that product on hold or put the situation, whatever it is, you create that barrier, as soon as possible, because it don't take none but one.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
There's like the public perception that food is bad because these greedy corporations want to take people's money and steal from them. It would be awesome if the greedy guys at corporate would actually get involved with the little things on the floor that are causing problems. Yeah. It's most of the problems in the food plant are driven by people at the plant floor level who are just trying to get through their day with the least amount of hassle and not get in trouble with the boss, right? Most of the food problems are, hey, I saw an issue, but if I go tell somebody, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I should make this go away and hide so that the boss doesn't know. And that goes all the way up the chain. And it's really not greed, it's more fear. The most of the problems in the food industry are really driven by fear of looking like you have a problem. For sure. And it tends to flow pretty badly into sanitation, because if you screw up, it creates a mess, and cleaning up the mess becomes evidence that you screwed up.
Yep.
And
that's deep, folks. That's deep.
And there's an incentive to cheat to cheat today. But sanitation is usually biological, and it moves slow, and then you're infected. And so there's I got to get out of here. I got a kid's sports game. I'm not going to clean the corners. Well, I didn't clean them yesterday. It's not a big deal. I won't clean them tomorrow. Hey, you know what? We had a bad month. I'm not going to backfill that role. Okay, we made our month look good. And then all of a sudden you've got stuff hiding in the overheads and in the corners. And then the weather changes. You go from the winter when it was dry and fine till the summer. And now it's wet and there's a roof leak. And now you got mold, and the mold brings in flies, and the flies bring in mice. And it's it all started not because of corporate greed, but because somebody tried to take a shortcut. And that's really the key point of your good sanitation quality team. Is being the ones to say, no, we can't take this shortcut today. Or we can take this shortcut today because of, maybe the equipment went down, or hey, the seal, when you're working well together, production as trying to get their orders out. Maybe the pump seal breaks and it's leaking, and the quality team is you got to fix that. We can't have dough leaking on the floor. Well, when everybody gets together and says, okay, the seal will be here in 2 days. What can we do for 2 days to make sure that we keep this sanitary, to keep production running? You got to have everybody working together and making sure that they understand, what are true. No, this is an actual red line versus this is just something I'd be embarrassed about. And
it actually takes me back a little bit.
Speak it.
I actually had a pleasure of working with Alex in my past experiences a little bit.
You too.
Well, yeah. So when we talk about blaming. I think most of the time when QA gets involved, even sanitation, and I tell people sanitars are looked upon down in production environment, but they actually hold the most important job in the whole food manufacturing industry. When you look at the HACCP plan, they are the ones to actually make sure that it starts with them. If they don't clean an equipment correctly and production starts running it, it cascades down, it can end up shutting the whole business overall. So a lot of times when I talk to the sanitation technicians, I always tell them, don't listen to what anybody tells you. Your job is so important, even though it's in direct labor, but they actually, the biggest pie of the whole production, they actually own it. And just because of that reason, if something happens, it's like come into a room, we should be able to explain like, yeah, we didn't clean this area, but we overlooked it for such a long time that bacteria actually moves. And the tool that they actually use to move are human beings. You know, people don't, if you don't wash your hand, you touch somewhere, you take it from where it's at. It doesn't have legs, but the vehicle is human beings that actually take that. So, and sanitation touch everything when they're in the building. So if they don't actually follow the proper steps themselves, they could be contaminating everything too as well. So when we are in a room and we have to discuss what are the risks, yeah, in production things break. People come in so many different directions. Alex will come in and I'll be, no, we can't do that because of this. And it's like challenges you to actually think outside the box and say, what can we do to protect the product? Because ultimately that's what's more important. And you need everybody in that production facility to actually, you know, come in and do their part. Because not only one person can do that too as well. So it's a crazy dynamic that actually everybody has to work together to actually make sure the product is actually in good standing.
So piggyback on what you said a little bit ago, as far as you know, employees or team members reporting things. I think sometimes too as well is that they report things so much to the point where like they feel like things are not being done, so they kind of get demotivated. Like, well, they're not gonna do anything anyway, so whatever. They don't care. I don't care. So that's a big one right there. You know.
Yeah.
So a lot of times like people's lack of like caring is because they have over time cared too much. You know. So yeah, and I've seen that a lot. Where it's like, well, nothing's gonna get done about it anyway, so what does it matter? And it's like, well, it does matter, but it's like having to, rewire that mind, that mindset, goes a long way as well. So I thought it was interesting when you brought that up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of different pressures coming from so many different ways. And speaking about those pressures, it's just like, being in those positions of leadership and changing culture, like how does anybody deal with that type of stress? I mean, even from your experiences, how were you able
high
to
level to low level? High level to low level.
How were you able to balance those pressures to where you didn't take it home? Because
it goes home.
Yeah.
Full transparency.
Well, at least try not to make it home, right? But go ahead.
I think the clear thing is to have a long range battle plan. People get caught up in trying to win every little contest, but if you got to have the longer range vision to say, well, we can lose on this today because we're going to win on that over there. If you don't have that longer range mindset and you're just trying to get through every day, then I'll just cheat today. I'll this little white lie tomorrow. Nobody will notice. It'll keep flowing, but it catches up to people, right? So this is why the big food companies are constantly having to buy small food companies, because they slowly cheat on their product quality. Like, okay, how can we make it cheaper with a way that people won't notice? So if you can magically go in time and get your big national food 10 years ago versus today, you'll be like, this doesn't taste the same at all. Right? They used to have 6 ingredients, and now they add all this other stuff, and all that other stuff was somebody had an idea to save a little bit of money.
Yep.
And then everybody just sort of goes along with it. And because everybody moves slowly in the same direction, you don't realize that quality has petered out. So what you got to do as the leader is to keep that guiding light sort of in the long range in front of your team, and make sure that they understand, you're feeding people. This is food. Mm-hmm. You can't just send it down the line. Somebody's going to go put that in their mouth, right? And people do pay attention, and most products have loyal customer bases that eat that same thing all the time. Like it's kind of mind-boggling when you go through your customer complaints and people are like, I buy one of these, I buy a pack of this every Sunday when I'm at the store. And I eat 2 per day, and I've been doing it for 25 years.
Broke it down. Like,
that does not taste the same.
And this does not
what
taste
did
the
you
same.
do?
And you're like, oh my gosh, like they're like it's like you just can't believe that, but you're part of that person's like daily routine, and they will know. And hopefully they're nice enough to call you and let you know about it.
Yeah.
And then that gives you a chance to reply. But if like Raji says, if you don't respond to those complaints, they eventually stop calling, and then they stop buying, and then you're hurting. So you want to make sure when people take the time and the energy to bring you a complaint, that you honor that effort and try to do something about it, right? Because for every complaint you hear, there's 3 to 10
that are not reporting.
that are not reporting it, right? So
Check the lock code.
and that's the same for your employees. Like you get one employee that's brave enough to say, hey, this is, I can't clean this corner, or this line's always leaking, or I need a better tool, or hey, this, you switch suppliers and this new film isn't as good, or all that kind of feedback. It's pretty rare for an employee to just be doing that for FaceTime. Most employees don't want to be anywhere near the boss. Yeah. So if they take the time, to go do that, you want to take the time to figure out why they're doing that.
Yeah.
And
and
that changes the whole culture, is just responding a little bit to what people say and notice. Like, oh, they cared about the flour in the corner. They're going to care about, did I put in exactly the right amount of butter? Do they care, it's only a small roof leak. Well, a roof leak is the most dangerous thing in a food plant. That is outside leaking inside.
Keep everything out, but the roof is open.
Like, you don't make food up there. You don't want it inside. Yeah. And so you got to get people to really pay attention and care about those little things. Like, oh, it's only one small fly. Like, well, that fly is living somewhere. And where that thing is living, there's mold and bacteria and grossness. So,
I mean, speaking about just like those pieces of feedback and just touching on that, it's like how in what ways have you made companies and the culture environment more open to feedback, and how, like, it takes a lot for somebody, especially even an employee, to say something that is going on. Like, what protections and what pieces of technologies have you seen or have you used to create that culture for people to speak freely and say this and not have any like backlash or anything like that? Because I mean, a lot of people are scared with certain things.
Ideally, like if they are complaining, that's good. They're recognizing it.
Yeah. And
then you have to ask 2 questions. One, why are they telling you? And then and what path is missing, right? So if you want to take your culture to that next level, you get people to notice and reward them for noticing. Mm-hmm. But then if you can enable them to take a shorter path to get it fixed than talking to the boss, that's so much better, right? If everybody in the plant brings every problem to the boss and you get to be superhero, it feels really cool for like one day, and then you're like super exhausted. It's much better to say, I love that you noticed this thing, and I'm just the dumb plant manager, or production manager, supervisor, whoever. I'm not gonna go climb under there and fix the pump seal. Do you know who does? Oh yeah, the mechanic does. Well, have you tried talking to him? Well, yeah, I told him twice. Okay. So here's the breakdown. The mechanic doesn't think he has to talk to you, right? Mm-hmm. And as the boss, you're in charge of those chains of communication, and you got to go, okay, somebody saw a problem. They thought they brought it to the right person. The problem didn't get solved. Hey, mechanic, problem guy, supervisor's in charge of these 2 guys. What's going on here? Why are he's noticing it, which is awesome. He's supposed to fix it. the four of us don't need to be involved. How do we get it where these two can just be the ones involved, right? And if the mechanic goes, well, it's because he's, usually the mechanic will say, well, they're operating it wrong, and I've had to fix it 6 times, and I'm sick of 6.
Sanitation broke it.
Blame game comes in.
And it starts looping around, and you chase those things down. Okay, cool. Let's grab those guys. Explain to them what they did to break that thing.
Yeah.
And you explain to him how to fix the thing. Like, see, that wasn't that bad. 5-minute conversation. You guys can actually talk to each other like humans, and everybody wins, right? So you're going to show him how to not spray it, and he might do it 7 more times. But if you don't tell him, you're going to be fixing that thing for the rest of your life. So I'm here to help referee and create this human situation of learning. We got the ball rolling down the hill, but I don't need to be the one to catch it every time. We're going to teach you all how to do that.
I think the biggest thing too is sometimes when I'm explaining something, the other person is picturing something completely different, right?
Yeah.
And I think when 2 people are not understanding and you're involving your boss at that time, that person is looking for recognition. And there's a breakdown from that point where like they don't feel like they're going to get recognized, and they just want to own something and say, you know what, I pointed this out, this is what I'm doing, and they're running to the boss and not giving other people a chance. But I think it's just a matter of going to the root cause and going to the problem and say, I think we've done this a lot. Let's just go out on the production floor. Let's look at this together so we can actually understand what I'm saying or what he's saying is actually what's actually happening. Because sometimes it's like the explanation or the wording might not be correct too as well. And so I think that happens a lot in production and in food industries where like somebody might be saying something, but it's completely different of what I'm actually envisioning in my own image. And it's always good to actually have those conversations where it actually happens versus in a conference room or in an office, because it kind of changes a whole lot. And I think you getting involved in saying, okay, how do I connect this? Then they look at you as, like the person who cares. Oh, he listened to me. So the other person says, okay, if the boss is actually listening to them, I should be able to meet them halfway and get the work done. So it comes easier over time. So I think communication is really big, and it starts from the top. If you look at it, when we say food, especially in the quality, we always said quality is important. Everything's number one, and what we are doing in production really doesn't reflect that. It changes a whole lot of difference for production employees and say, okay, yeah, I know it's important, but so-and-so was just doing this. Like a manager just did this, and they get penalized for actually doing the same thing. Kind of changes the whole culture and makes it a little bit more difficult from that standpoint.
100%. I agree.
And turnover causes unseen problems that nobody wants to sort of know about. Mm-hmm. So a lot of food plants are usually 10, 20, 30 years old, or they're brand new. Yeah. Like there's almost no in between. There's almost never an in between. And so the brand new ones, everybody knows every process doesn't exist, and everybody's all in on like trying to figure it out. And then if that can like run and survive, and that usually lasts for 5 years, 10 years, where the managers who built the place and the operators, they all know each other, they've been through startup, they kind of have this relationship. And then a couple of decades down the road, all of those from the ground up learned behaviors that existed, they start to get swapped out. And you start with, okay, 80% of the workforce has been here from ground one. We battled at the line, ripping this thing apart, putting it back together. We read the manual, we got the training, and then it becomes sort of like these like stories that get like passed down by generations, and truth like gets lost.
Mythical stories.
Yeah, the mythical stories.
That line was great at a point in time. Like, what?
Yeah, and the crews that were there together who were okay talking to each other, some of them start to swap out, right? So like the operators know to talk to the mechanics. They work together for 20 years. And then all of a sudden there's new operators, and the mechanic's been there 20 years, and he doesn't know any of the new guys, and they all look funny and talk different. And you end up with like this whole different like dynamic. And then what used to be a really easy manager job in a way, because the plant just ran because everybody knew how to do it and the mythical stories helped it survive, and you kind of wanted an incompetent manager, right? Because everybody inside knows what to do. And if the manager is too energetic about new stuff, they're going to screw up the mojo inside the plant. So you kind of want like an office guy to just stay in the office and let us run the place. But then sometimes the plant forgets how to do its job.
Yeah.
And so then you've got this office culture of like, well, we just let them do their job, but they forgot how to do their job. And so that's when things can suddenly like just snowball down fast, where there's usually some key leaders inside the organization holding it all together. Yeah. And then one of them retires or gets a new job or something, right? And then all that load is on just a few people and they start to crack. And or there's a company sale, something happens. Yeah. And then the whole place, like, just it loses those interlocking chains, and that's where it starts to fall apart. And it usually, like, it falls apart everywhere, but where food companies especially get in trouble is sanitation, because bacteria is hungry. Yeah. And so you're
busting down bacteria.
Yeah, your laziness becomes food safety hazards that become like a real big problem. It's one thing to be cutting metal in a machine shop and have a mess.
Yeah.
And you can just kind of walk around it, but in food manufacturing, the outside environment is trying to get in and make a mess of your shop. So you start to have those cracks and you start to have problems, and it snowballs sort of all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
As we're talking, like, I'm sure we can all kind of allude to this, like, indirectly, like, where it's like you're just thinking about shit in your head, and you're like, yeah. Don't say too much, just say enough.
Well, how did it get this way? Well, we used to have a guy. We used to have a girl, and she always took care of this. And, well, they're not here anymore, so what are we going to do? And so there's managers who come up within the food environment who survive on the ability to motivate. Like, say that, like, so you get these teams that are mostly competent, and they start to slack off a little bit, and you can get a motivating leader who doesn't necessarily know a lot, but can say, let's work harder, guys. And the team will kind of just rally around that. Like if you got a football team who are all professionals and they kind of know what's going on, but they just kind of are terrible. And you get in a coach there who's just like a fun, motivating guy. You can get them to play better and know nothing about football, right? We're gonna hit them harder. We're gonna go faster. And so there's a whole group of managers who are sort of like, they're not the sit in the office guys, but they go out on the floor and they're raw and they try to get stuff done. And they often have a reasonably decent success rate. But there's that. They have to, like, they can go into an unmotivated team and get them winning, but if they can also struggle going into a spot where their just talent isn't there. Like, you can't go up to people who don't.
Motivation is overly high to the point where we've been there, done that. Whatever you say, it doesn't matter.
And you need like that whole organizational like leader to say, no, we're gonna get on the floor. Like it's like restarting the plan all over again. Like, find the old books, find the old manuals, find the old procedures. We're gonna read it. We're gonna learn it. We're gonna teach each other. We're gonna get things going. And so as a food plant, you kind of got to assess where you're at. Like, what kind of leadership you need. Are you pretty much a well-running plant that's just demotivated, and do you need a charismatic like person? Is it a well-running place and you just need somebody to focus on like sales and, recognizing the well-run hard worker people you have? Or is it, one crack away from disaster and you need a whole nother feel? And usually people like try to pretend they're not as bad as they are until they're as bad as they are.
Yeah, was one crack away from disaster. Was it like a manufacturing floor joke or something?
Floors, roofs.
So good.
No, but I think with the managers that come in, I think sometimes what I see mostly is when they come to the plant, they don't take the time to actually learn the environment itself. We are so quick to change when you're going to when you're coming in an interview, they ask you, what can you bring to the table? And this person comes in with the idea of like, I'm here to change things. So they forget all the people who have been there, who have those valuable experiences that actually help them succeed long. So they kind of like put them to the side and they focus, no, this is the old way of doing things. This is how we're going to do it. And that's how easily people get demotivated. But as a manager, I think it's very important for people to actually have like at least, you might not even know the whole process for 6 months. Be able to go out there, learn, talk to people, and understand the processes before you can actually bring your whole experience or what changes you want to make. I think it demotivates a lot of people when they come in and, oh, you're just like the other guy who just left. All these changes was done by the other guy. You see that a whole lot. And I think sometimes it's good to take a step back and just look at the processes before you start making any changes.
100%. Cleaning podcast at the back and going.
Welcome to Silent Echo Studios, where cleaning is happening in real time. We shall wait. This is a quick break for our sponsors, and we're back. Thank you guys. That was a quick word from our sponsors, if we had any at this moment. Thank you very much for coming back to the this episode. And Jorge, whatever you got to do to chop it up and put some B-roll in here just to make it make sense, do it. You got my permission.
I like how you give instructions while you're still like...
He's making the job. We have to remove all that.
Hey, bloopers that happen at Silent Echo Studios, you know. We got to be understanding.
Yeah.
But it's all good. Thank you, Greta. But, all right. I completely forgot where we were. We were talking about managers. Abdi, you were talking about managers and whatnot, I think, and how things should be running and changing and trying to go in, changing things fast and all of that. I think we've all somewhat experienced that in some way, shape, or form, whether it's, you know, being a third-party service provider or internally in the actual company itself. So, I mean, how do you deal with that? Like,
I think an important thing for a manager or supervisor or business owner is to have people they can trust who can just sort of make problems go away, and having the patience and follow up to make sure those people around you are those types of people. So you don't actually have to like know everything to run a food business. But if you say, all right, you know, we need the machinery to run well, we need production to run well, we need quality to run well. I don't know anything about those three pieces, but you three do. And so we're going to get together, you know, sort of each day and have a positive, constructive conversation. And then when we see a problem, we need it to go away. Mm-hmm. And to have trusted providers and service members who you can come in, make that problem go away, and you know, be relied on to do that, because there's no company who can do it all in-house perfectly every day. Mm-hmm. And so what can set a service company apart is just, we have this problem. Okay, we know your industry, we know what's going on. We will come in and solve the problem, and we'll do the paperwork so that it works in your audit. Yeah. And, you know, that's huge. There's a lot of, you know, people who clean toilets for a living who would love to get a janitorial contract in a food plant, but like, no, dude, like that guy who cleaned that hole cannot be the one cleaning that oven. Yeah. Like, like there are some rules that you have to know as things happen, and but you can be a semi-incompetent manager and get yourself out of a lot of trouble if you just follow up, right? So if you just go, well, we saw this problem. You know, hey team, you guys said you would address it. I noticed it's happening again today. What do we think about that? Yeah. And, you know, oh, yesterday we lied to you and we didn't actually have a plan. Like, okay, well, let's actually have a plan today, and let's. What is your next step? And it comes across as like very pedantic, but it's important. Like, okay, so yesterday we talked about this, and you just let them talk their way through, and your team will sort of clean themselves up a lot of the time, right? A lot of the,
Clean
a lot
themselves
of,
up. I don't need that guy.
right? You know, the one who's been getting away with not doing work a lot of those will just, the boss came back and asked me again about this thing.
Yeah.
And he brought a picture this time, and he brought the same picture, and he wanted to know what I did for 8 hours. Hey, boss, I found a new job. Like you like don't like that happens all the time.
Oh man.
And all you did was just go, hey, I noticed like the rule wasn't being followed, and you're the guy in charge of making sure the rule's being followed. What do you think about that? Mm-hmm. You don't even mean mean. You're just asking them, like, hey, firemen, fire. Like, you doing anything about that? And they're gonna go like, yeah, I only play firemen on TV. I'm gonna go to the next season at a different but then your real firemen are like, whoa, legit, we can put out fires. Like, yeah, that's your job. Go put out the fires. Oh, can you show us or get us tools? Like, yeah, here's tools. Like. All like to like actually clean things up can be super easy. All you do is like on a bare minimum, pay attention a little bit, encourage people to talk to each other, and then just follow up and don't. You got to follow up more than once. Like, hey, we had a bug. What happened? Well, we cleaned it up. All right, we had another bug. Well, we cleaned it up. The bug's still there. Like, we got to go a level deeper. We got to, like, where is it? Is it in the wall? Is it in the ceiling? What, oh, we don't know. Okay, well, let's call bug people. What do you mean bug people? Internet. Yes. Bug person. Bug person near me. Yeah. Like, hey, Ecolab or whoever your local bug person is, they look at the bug and they go, oh, that's this type of bug. It usually lives here. Let me poke. Yep, there it is. There's your hive. Mm-hmm. Like, it's okay to not know anything and to just like go on the internet and say, I'm running a bakery and we keep getting flour stuck to the wall. What should we do about it? Like, well, let's talk to people. Like, let's call the people who made the oven. Why does it keep burning? And they come in and go, oh, your temperature sensor's wrong. Like having that humility to know that you actually don't know all that much stuff, but either your team probably knows if you get everybody together, and if they don't know, just go on the internet and just start typing in, name of equipment, service provider. There's often service providers in buildings who know more about the building than anybody there. Like the HVAC guy who fixes it all the time might know, like, well, you normally you used to store it over there, but that one broke, so now we store it over here. But if you fix that one, it'd save you a lot of everybody wants you to win because they like eating your food. So being humble enough to just keep asking and keep following up, and you can go and get amazing stuff done.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, when they get stuck too, is like companies have policies and procedures in place, and like those are not set in stone. They're not like, it's not like a Bible or the Quran, I should say. Like those are meant to be changed. When you talk about food safety and quality, even sanitation, it's like it's a continuous improvement. As the environment changes, as new people come in, those are like they're fluid. That we look at them, review it, get experts to come in, help us, and change it. I think we get stuck in like quality. This is how it says. This is what SQF standard states, and anything like that. Those are just standards that we are supposed to be paying attention to. But that doesn't mean that that's how we do business in our production facility. Mm-hmm. And I think it's mostly convincing people, no, that's okay. But if we do the due diligence on our end and do the risk assessment and follow through, our environment is different. We just got to figure out what fits in that environment too as well. So.
Abdi, good point, because what you mentioned is all those are just guiding principles, right? What you're supposed to do in that plan is pull what makes sense and have the logic behind it. And instead of changing things rapidly, test it to see if it does make sense to change it, put the logic behind it, and that therefore, whenever the audit does happen, you go back to show the logic, why you changed that policy or whatever it is. But even going a little bit deeper, a lot of it, Alex, you mentioned is, it boils down to human behavior, right? And with human behavior, there has to be follow-ups, conversations, thorough investigations, root cause analysis. And I mean, how important would you all say that like having transparency in that process and not jumping to blame people constantly without doing a thorough just here's the transparency, this is what I've seen on my side, this is what you see on, and putting it on the table and coming together to figure out the different possibilities it could be as a team rather than just blaming? Like how important is that process right there?
It's key. I was teaching a new supervisor like how to kind of do his job, and well, it was a group of supervisors together, and we were talking about like how do we get the different shifts and crews to work better together. Mm-hmm. And I was describing like exactly this type of stuff. Like, well, we want to, create the situations where people do things and he goes, "This is like manipulation. Like we're just like," and I like smile, like we're not psychologists, we're supervisors. I'm like, literally, you are manipulating people using psychology to do their jobs better. Like this is the job. like yes, you got promoted to supervisor because you had good attendance and you ran the line well. But now you're the supervisor. You're in charge of people, and your job is to manipulate people. Like that's your job. Like to psychologically manipulate people to more often than not do their job correctly. Right? Like. And to smile and have fun doing it. Like, and you're like, well, that's sadistic. Like, dude, you watch TV. You're on an iPhone. You're being manipulated nonstop. Yeah. Like,
so true. Mic drop. Boom.
Yeah. Like if you have kids, your job is to manipulate them to go to school and to wake up on time. Like as a supervisor, your job is to manipulate your team to do things the right way and to clean up after themselves and to be okay with mistakes. Like, there's, I don't know, some stupid meme about like Michael Jordan, and he's like, in my career, I missed like 10,000 shots, right? Like the best baseball hitter out there gets struck out like every, 3 out of 4 times, right? Like, but somehow I think it's part of that duality of food is that like half of the business is marketing and convincing people that this version of sugar is worth twice as much as that version of sugar. And so there's like this other like culture of like Disneyland, and well, underneath Disneyland is an entire like dumpster facility. And it's like, well, you don't want the customers to understand how the sausage is made, but when you're in the plant, you gotta kind of separate from that a little bit and really focus on how the sausage is made, and it's all about getting people better. Like if my wife likes to watch the shows about like the chef. Like there's a restaurant run bad and some chef goes in to try to get people to run it better. And I can't watch those shows because it reminds me too much of work. But like the guy doesn't even necessarily know anything about that restaurant or anything about what's going on. He just knows, like he usually is like, well, you need to clean your dishes. You need to make sure your different people are doing what they're supposed to. And we're going to smile and we're going to do some paint. Like, it's just psychological about getting the people inside to do what they're supposed to. And
half the time the battle is literally having those people amend their relationships with each other.
Yeah. And to just get along. And when people like think about the military, they think about like drill instructors yelling at you. That only happens like in the very beginning until you learn to like listen, and then after that it's like just normal adult conversations. But once you learn like the hierarchy and rules and how to interact with each other, it creates that. And my sister is a chef, and that's the one part of like professional kitchens that I thought was stunning. As I kind of like learn more, and then you watch shows like The Bear, and you realize like,
I love that show.
Yeah,
that's
like,
awesome.
Like the kitchen is ran like a military, right? There's rank, there's order, there's discipline, there's rules, and it's like that. Like a well-run kitchen is how a food plant is supposed to run. Like order, discipline. He's in charge of this. He's in charge of that. And if you screw it up, food gets thrown across the room. You're not allowed to do that as much in a corporate food manufacturer as you can apparently in the kitchen, or at least on TV. And but that's sort of what you're trying to get to, is where it's okay for the sous chef in charge of the line to be paying attention to how the the food prep guy is doing it, and they all need to make sure their dishes are clean at the end of the day. Just like you would in your home kitchen, it needs to be like that in a plant. But it's sort of like if you don't have an organized, like if you got a shared kitchen among like 4 apartments, nobody ever cleans it except the one person who's always annoyed, and then they leave and it's just a giant mess. So you have to have like a routine and a schedule to say like, okay, you got Mondays, you got Tuesdays, you got Wednesdays. We all make, we're all part of this kitchen. We all make sure it all gets cleaned. But if there's nobody leader there to drive that structure, it won't just happen organically.
And I think part of doing a root cause analysis, I think most of the time people look at it as like, let's just say, hey, this happened, and the solution isn't there. You have to really go up, look at things. Even in like a run well kitchen, if you look at it, the one person who messes up, you have to understand, oh, he messed up, but then why did he mess up? What caused him to mess up? So you can actually, it's a continuous improvement, but I think we get caught up in this like, oh, let's just dress this document up to say this is what it is and just close it out. But then that might end up being an issue. Then you just put Band-Aid on it, but then it becomes bigger and bigger over time, where like we could have addressed it right away. And then a lot of people use the root cause analysis as like the wrong tool, but not what's intended to do.
Yeah,
So,
and people can be scared to, like, well, it's going to cost money to fix it, or it's going to cost money to bring in a crew to get us caught up. But you got to baseline it to normal, right? So, like that an example. Well, nobody wants to clean the kitchen of this communal kitchen, but it needs to be cleaned. Well, if you also go, well, how about everybody put $10 into the bucket every week, and we'll bring in a service, and they will clean it. And now we have a clean kitchen, and none of us had to clean. Right? And that's where a lot of like service contractors can really help fill that void, because if your plant's running well, you don't necessarily need. You can have a pretty like normal level of stuff, but things happen, and that's where you also need that trusted service group who can come in and just be like, I got a problem. We got to catch up here. We haven't been paying attention to the warehouse, and now it's out of control. Or we just want to focus on loading trucks, and we just need the place clean. Yeah. Can you take this problem off our hands? Yeah. And instead of pretending the problem doesn't exist, just give it to somebody who can make the problem go away and get stuff done for you.
100%.
Raji, real quick, how many times in your experience have you seen where it's just like, to that point, a Band-Aid, throw labor at it, throw this at it, like, and it's like having a good third party service provider, or even just a person that's leading that, not just go along with it, but to say something different and say, hey, this is actually what's going on, and if we don't address it, this is going to continue. Like, how many times have you seen that happen?
I see it all the time, and I just feel like for me personally, it's it's the best partners to work with, people who accept feedback. And don't take things personal, right? I mean, because I think a lot of times, when you start putting emotions into things, business related or not, doesn't really matter. Like, you kind of like things get, blown out of proportion, and you lose logic, and the context gets dissolved, essentially. So I think a lot of facilities, a lot of companies in general, tend to just, put a Band-Aid on it, right? Keep things moving. Because, again, manufacturing is different. Like, the goal is ultimately, when it's all said and done, is to make safe, quality food, right? Ensure you're putting out safe product at the door. Also, people are not being hurt in the process, but most importantly, it's a business. So from a business perspective, you're going to do what's in the best interest of the business, as long as you're making safe, quality food. Let me be clear about that. Let me be very clear.
Yeah.
But ultimately, part of putting those Band-Aids on is going to be, like Alex made a comment earlier, like, I will do it next time, or, this is going to be addressed right now. It's always a next time concept, but next time comes pretty fast. And you can only, do that for so long, whether you have leaks, cracks, whatever it is. It's just a matter of time before it catches up to you. And we've had numerous projects with different clients, customers, where you see that, and rightfully, and the best ones are the ones who admit, like, yeah, we effed up, like, we should do this a long time ago. And it's like, you appreciate that, because you get a sense of purpose helping them out to make sure, like, you get them up back to, to your point, Alex, to, like, a general baseline of like how things should be, because overall things get lost in time. As time progresses, you lose sight of like what the reality really is.
Yeah.
So
I think the culture of like ownership, owning your processes. I think sometimes it's a good thing. There's a value to it, but sometimes it derails the process as a me being the owner. If something is messed up, I'm taking the blame for it. So we tend to hide. I think Alex touched on this a little bit earlier, where we tend to hide things because we don't want people to see our flaws. We go above and beyond to try to like cover it because I own this process.
Cosmetic.
You know, it's just So I think it's that's the most challenging thing. I think when trying to do the right thing, but then trying to make profit at the same time. You know, in order to make money, you have to spend money. I think that's what people forget most of the time is that spending portion of it. Everybody just wants to keep what they make or what they earn during that process is a little bit difficult. And I think as contractors, when we go in, people look at us like, oh, that's another waste. You know, we're coming in to take more money out of the bucket that people are trying to fill all the time. So I think it's challenging from that piece and try to make people understand there's the long-term goal here is like you do this, then it's going to be process improved. You can run more production. People don't tend to see that a lot. And it becomes a little bit more difficult from that standpoint.
And wildlife is unforgiving, right? So it's like, well, and they're hungry. So when they get in and you just see like a few flies, it's like, well, you know, we just had a few flies. We killed most of them. We saw a few flies. We killed most of them. But in 21 days, they had another cycle again. So you get this like
100%.
lull of like, well, we got a couple of weeks where it seems like it was under control. And then all of a sudden, well, we were seeing one every day. Now we're seeing like 10. You got to take action because 21 days later, that 10 becomes 100, and then 21 days later, that's 10,000.
Yeah.
So, like, well, we had one listeria hit in this one area, and then we didn't see any for a while, so we think we're okay. Well, whatever behavior that is that let that into your process, or situation or occurrence, a roof leak, floor crack, wrong chemical dosage. It will seem like it's taken care of for a while, and then, mice is 3 months before they're gestating. Yeah. And so you think like, oh, okay, we got it under control. We only had one mice. And then it's like, well, now we got 7 mice. And then 3 or 4 months later, you got 30 mice. Yeah. So, exponentially little problems in food safety can blow up to huge problems.
Yep.
Oof, yeah.
Yep.
And that's what people don't understand when people look at it too as well is like, oh, you're just quality. And I'm like, we're here to make sure you have certification. Yeah. Just sanitation. If we are not in this building, even though we are like the indirect labor, you can't make no product to sell to the customers. That means you can't be working and connecting those dots. Sometimes it's just like, crazy.
Or you can have your own insurance and sanitation department, and good luck with those call-offs.
Yeah. So.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But one thing is, just one thing I want to circle back on, Alex. What would you deem in your experience and just high level thought, right? What is manufacturing in the food manufacturing? Be clear. What is the biggest risk factor? Would you say?
The one that gets the most press is allergens, like people being sloppy with allergens, and that will continue. I think they need to change the regulations on it is what they need to do. Yeah. And even within the FDA, different parts of the FDA fight over it because one part is out in the field and they see that. That all food systems on some level are intermixed, right? So the rail car that moves corn, next week is moving soybeans, next week is moving wheat. And so to try to say well, this is gluten-free, and well, it could be. The whole rail car, the whole silo could be gluten-free, but there could be one little pocket in the back of that silo that breaks free at some point, and suddenly you got a slug of gluten in there. And so the FDA people who are out in the field, they see real life. You can't actually clean every single pocket, corner, or whatever. And they would prefer the labeling to be very clear, to say, like cigarettes, like soy, wheat, gluten is in this food supply chain somewhere, and if it's lethal to you, it's in this food supply chain. like in big, bold, flashing letters. Whereas the regulatory, more office side of the FDA, and I've had the conversations with people, they're like, well, if your supply chain's too lazy to make sure that you don't have soybeans in your wheat or wheat in your soybeans, you're just a bad manufacturer. And it's like, you don't understand. We're talking like 500 million acres of American farmland, thousands of rail cars and trucks. Like, this is not like some greedy guy at one like plant trying to avoid cleaning. Like, it exists in the world. Like, like it's cool that you're on your little computer typing this up and saying like, well, you have an undeclared like allergen because it was in your like. We didn't put it there, but there's a high risk that it could be there. We want to be safer, and the field version of FDA wants people to be safer. So instead, you end up with this like ambiguousness of may contain, which is obnoxious because some people are going to roll those dice. Like, well, what does it contain or not contain? And so, and then you get a lot of misinterpretation of different operators and labeling and when does it contain and not contain, should we add it or not add it? And the office FDA will say, well, if it's not part of your recipe, you shouldn't put it in there. And it's like, all chocolate is probably going to touch milk. Like the chocolate supply chain has milk in it all over the place. So unless you're specifically buying like cocoa beans and making it yourself, all chocolate should say it contains milk. And so, but there's plenty of people who will, have dark chocolate that doesn't have milk in it, and they won't put it on their label, and it'll test positive for milk. Like, you're putting people at risk. So it'd be better to put it in big, fat, bold letters on the front of the label than to have people trying to play these games of like you guys mentioned earlier, like, how at risk are we? Like, can we roll the dice? That's one where.
Should we hold it? Should we let it go?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It all goes
maybe.
back to process versus reality, right?
Yeah.
The reality of it is controlling allergens, and I think that's why FDA most of the time they don't want to give a definition. They'll give a definition, but then be very vague about it, and then people in quality of production, we are out to define what that actually means, right?
Yeah.
And then that's because it affects people from like the tiniest bit. Somebody can touch a dust of it and have a reaction, but somebody has to consume so much of it for them to actually have a reaction. I think that spectrum of individuals is so wide that nobody can pinpoint it starts from here or ends here, but they want to put regulations out there to make sure that they have something to warn people to. And like, if you talk about chocolate or peanuts, for instance, when it's out in the air, the dust of it, that could be an allergic thing, but then you might have a line down there, right, in your processes that is not enclosed, that the dust goes everywhere. But that product does not have peanuts, but then this one does have peanuts. But then it's like, when you look at the definition of an allergen, well, is there a risk? Yes, there is a risk. Then you need to, whether it's on the recipe or not, isn't an issue right now. It's the process that you have. And I think the people out on the field see the reality of it, like you stated. But people in the back offices don't get that reality. They just go by the definition. Oh, this is what it says. For that reason, for that reason, you can't have that. And I think we've had a conversation with people in the field, and actually FDA try to get a sense of like the definition of it. So what does this mean? Are we compliant or not? And they always go, we can't tell you. You get to make your own choices.
That's right. Pass the buck, baby.
They don't want to be pinpointed in the actual reality, but they want to be able to tell you, like, yep, we did let people know. Ultimately, you want to be responsible for your own processes, too, at the end of the day.
Great government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you even see it in restaurants, right? They're like, if you have any allergies, let us know, and we can make yours without the allergens. And I'm like, how? It's all the same kitchen. Like, you got the same chef. Like, is he going to change his clothes and get new pots and pans? Like, no. Like, oh, you want the gluten-free? Okay, I'm going to take this bun or that one. Oh, wait, this is gluten-free. Let me take the gluten bun off and put the other bun on.
Or
like we go to Subway, it's like, change your gloves. Change your glove. Change your glove. So you got to have that.
I remember that situation where we had to walk away from that Subway, remember? Oh, boy. Yeah, that was the first time Roger ever see me upset.
We love you, Subway.
We love you, though.
We love you, Subway.
Name drop.
A submarine making sandwich shop.
Oh man, Alex, it has been such a pleasure chatting with you. Any last thoughts or comments that you'd like to share with the listeners at home, just about insights about the food manufacturing industry and things that they may not be aware of?
Yeah, don't wait until it's too late. Like, once you start to see you're headed the wrong way, call for help. Like, don't be shy. Don't wait too long.
Yep.
When it's like when you're getting beat up, don't wait until you're unconscious. Like, call the police right away. Like, hey, we need help. Like, this thing's out of control. My team's been working on 3 weeks. They're not getting anywhere. Just call for help. And you might not even need, just having somebody come in to look at it and give you the quote and the assessment. When I'm in a plant, people are always like, so many people. You're always calling all these people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know any of them. I just know we have problems and we need it fixed. Like, eventually you build up like a local, Rolodex of like trusted allies. But it all starts with like that blind phone call 100%. To know, like, I got a problem. It's been 2 weeks. My people can't fix it. Let's call for some help. And you might have to call 5 people, but somebody's gonna know how to help you in your problem.
Absolutely.
We have an SQF audit coming up. No.
Seriously. Well, everybody, Raji, Abdi, any last thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
No, I mean, it's been a pleasure, Alex, as always.
Absolutely.
First and foremost, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
And being your presence was great. Educating these people, us people as well. We always learn something super cool. With your experience and knowledge and everything. Same to you too as well, Abby. Just being here. It's nice to have these conversations and make it realistic, right? Not just about all the what if scenarios, but it's like some actual experience. It's gonna get better. We're getting there. So.
I think for me, it's the work that going out the field and actually doing the right thing and not being responsible for going to a boss in front of Alex and said, this is what I need and this is going in and helping people tackle those issues that they can't and just focusing on that. I think it's a really needed service, and I think we don't recognize our sanitation crew as much as we should, because I think they have a huge impact in the food industry overall.
100%.
Absolutely. Well, already, everybody, thank you guys. If you got to this far of the episode, we really appreciate you. Jorge, do your magic however you're going to do it. We appreciate you as well. And for everybody, just know that, as Alex said, if there's something that's pressing, definitely take care of it. Reach out. Don't just be humble and follow up, and take care of those problems. But until the next episode, you all, thank you very much. We love you, and see you guys on the next one.
All right. That was cool.
Peace.
Yeah,